Yeah, how y'all doing out there in video land? This is Stiletto coming at you from the Wild Wild West. Today, what we're going to do today, we're going to disassemble. Yes, I said disassemble. Disassemble my brand new Mayhem. My Japanese Oz 8 Mayhem that I got from Midway USA for $135. You can still get them. Still get them. In fact, I had to get another one. Why did I get another one? Because I want to have one to collect. This one's gonna get totally modified. I'm gonna modify this one, people. I'm gonna polish it, and I might even try something with the handle scales too. I don't know, but I'm gonna do a little experimentation with it. I'm gonna do some modifications with it, and so it's not gonna be stock no more. So I like to always keep a stock one, not only as a backup to this one if something ever happened to it, but as also as a collector down the line. If nothing happens to this one stays perfectly fine. This knife, you know, I've had it, I've been carrying it and using it for a couple of days now, and it's become my #1 fidget toy at home. I know everybody says this is a guillotine, it's not a fidget toy, but it is a fidget toy. It's just a big fidget toy. That's all. It's just a big one. And I absolutely love it, people. Absolutely love it. The Mayhem. And you got to get a snaggletooth for it too, people. The snaggletooth, you know, if you like to draw it fast like your pocket, the snaggletooth is the way to go. Absolutely love it. But what we're going to do, I'm going to attempt to maybe just buff this out, because I've been looking at it. It looks like it's already got a nice finish on it. It looks like it just needs to be buffed out with some buffing compounds. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to tape this all off, because I do not want to use I do not want to do anything to the flats. To the flats of the blade. I want to keep that totally stock, and so I'm going to tape it off. And what I'm going to do is first I'm just going to try to buff this out and see how it buffs out. If it doesn't give me the kind of polish I want, then I'm going to go ahead and wet sand it. But first I'm going to try to buff it out first. It just makes it easier on yourself first if you don't have to wet sand something. Sometimes you can just buff things. You know, especially like this one has a really nice, almost a polished finish already. Looks like about a 1500 grit finish. You know, so it has a pretty decent finish on it already. Won't be too hard. I will probably, if I do wet sand this one, I'll probably start off with polishing paper, like maybe 1500. I'll probably start off with like 1500, go 2000, 2500, and stop at 3000 grit wet sandpaper. And I wet sand underneath the water. But anyway, I'll show you how I do it. I'm going to do a series about 3 videos. The first one's going to be the disassembly. The second video will be polishing for anybody that's interested in seeing how I polish things. You know, I know not too many people are really interested in that. You know, that bores a lot of people, but there are a few people that have been asking me about polishing this knife, so you know that'll be for them. You know, the people that are interested in seeing about polishing and seeing how I do things. And the last one will be the assembly video, and then we'll take it for a test ride. All right, people. So let's go get started on this one. To take it apart, so far it looks like you need a T8 and a T6. T8 and a T6. I'm going to take out the snaggletooth first. Using a T8 to take out the snaggletooth. This piece is in there. Now let's use T6 to do that. Push it out. I don't want to damage the threads. That's why I'm using something that's really smaller than. Give it a little tap. No. There we go. All right. So let's put these all together just to keep the parts together, people. That's all I'm doing. So then when I go to reassemble it, I know what goes to what. I won't be getting it mixed up with, like, you know, body screws. This screw that the snaggletooth gives you with this kit looks just like your body screws. It really matches the, you know, the rest of your hardware. Okay. All right, so let's go ahead and flip it over to this side, the pivot side, and we got to start off with the T8. Take out the pivot screw. This is my first time disassembling this. I've never disassembled it before. So this is new for both of us, people. I've disassembled a lot of cold steel knives, so I'm not worried about it, but this is my first time taking this one apart. Seems to be like a really well-made knife though, so I'm not really even tripping on it because I think everything's going to fit together perfectly and work perfectly on it. I really like this one, people. This is probably like the first mega folder from Cold Steel besides the 5 Max. When I say the first mega, I should say the first mega folder. Mega. I'm not talking about the ones that you guys always see me display and the ones I always talk about, the ones I use and carry all the time. I'm not talking about those. Those are the lightweight mega folders. Those are the ones that are, like under 10 ounces, or most of them are under 9 ounces. And they're, even though they're the same size as this, they're very lightweight and easy to carry. Whereas this one weighs, 13 ounces. It was a 12.9, 13 ounces. And it's just as heavy as like a Raja 2. And the only thing that's really heavier than it is the Cold Steel Espada XL, which has a 7.5 inch blade instead of a 6-inch blade, so that you'd expect that to be heavier. But it's not that much heavier. It's only like an ounce heavier. So it's not like a whole lot heavier. But this one's very heavy. And I think it's most of the weight, a lot of times I think the weight for this one has to do with the locking mechanism. Because if they would have made this, like, let's say in a triad format, with the triad, the way that you always made triad knives, I think it would have been a lot lighter. And the reason why I say that, because the blade thickness is no thicker than all the other, Cold Steel mega folders. They're all 3.8 millimeter, even the ones that they claim that are 4 millimeter. All the ones that they claim are 4 millimeter are actually 3.8. They're all the same thickness, people. So this is not like thinner than the old ones. It's the same thickness as the old ones. As the original Cold Steel Megas. They're just being honest about the thickness on this one. Whereas the original Cold Steel Megas, they would always tell you something that wasn't exactly right. It was close, but not exactly right. Okay, we got the phosphorus bronze washer. Love it. This is a classic Cold Steel setup with the Teflon washer against the blade. That's the reason why it's so smooth, people. Andrew Dimko used to always talk about how Teflon is smoother, it gives a smoother feeling when the blade's opening and closing than just having the bronze phosphor washer. Now you can see how the handle is all skeletonized, like I said. And this is steel. This is steel. This is not aluminum. This is a steel liner. A skeletonized steel liner. Isn't that awesome the way that they made this? I think they did an excellent job. But this is the blade stop, people. This is the blade stop that I was talking about. This piece right here. And see how it's just like a normal size for a Cold Steel triad lock folder? Because triads work the same way. They work with the blade stop also. But with the triad, with the older triad models, the knife blade itself is a lot lighter. This is a heavy blade, people. And I think this should be a little bit, this piece right here, I think it should be beefier. And that's the reason why I was telling you not to let your knife slam close, is because of that. Now, look at how beefy that locking mechanism looks. That looks stout, people. I think this is a really good knife. I think the Atlas lock works for the Megas, people. I know people are, I'm one of them, one of the triad, major triad fanboys, if you want to call me that. A fan man, I guess. I'm too old to be a boy. I'm a major fan of this Cold Steel Triad lock too, and probably always will be. I think this is a strong lock too. Look at the way look how heavy duty all the parts are. I'm talking about like all the lock bar itself and everything. Look how thick it is. Look how strong it looks. And look how thick the stop pins are. These stop pins are solid. Like a lot of stop pins that you see in a lot of other knives, other than cold steel knives, they're hollow with they're threaded out hollow pieces. So they're not as strong as like a solid stop pin. I think that's one thing that adds a lot of strength to the cold steel knives is that Andrew Demko always used solid stop pins. He didn't use hollow stop pins. Hollow stop pins are often used by like Spyderco, Microtech, Benchmade. Just about all the manufacturers use hollow stop pins, and they have like screws that screw into them. Those are a lot weaker than this. This is a lot stronger. A solid stop pin is a lot stronger than the hollowed out one. Absolutely love it, people. I absolutely love the way this one's put together and made. It's put together pretty much like an old school Triac. The only difference is that it's a Atlas lock now. The washers are nice big washers. Look how thick the stop pin is. That's a nice looking stop pin. That's one thing I don't really care for about the new Microtechs, the ram locks, is that they don't have good D shapes on their stop pins. You gotta be careful with them because they'll strip out real easy. So, but I think that's one improvement that Microtech can do on theirs is improve their stop pin and the D shape on the stop pin. But this has got weight to it. That's got weight to it itself. The lock bar itself has a lot of weight. I can feel it. This is a thick and strong lock bar, people. That's the reason why Joe X couldn't break this one. Couldn't break the lock. He had to start pounding on the lock itself in order to damage it, which nobody would do in real life. Yeah, I'm pretty sure this is a G10, people. So I can't polish it. I won't be able to polish this piece. G10. Pretty sure. I'm going to put a little scratch on it, see if I can tell for sure. Let me see, where can I scratch it where I won't see it? Scratch it on the inside right here. I don't know. Is it aluminum? Is it aluminum, people? Ooh, I think it's aluminum. Okay, I'll let you know for sure later because I'm going to go ahead and try to sand that down. See, we're going to have a polished backspacer. Ooh, this is going to look so cool. If this is aluminum, people, this is going to look cool. I'm going to love the way this is going to look. I think it might be aluminum, people. I think it might be aluminum. Okay. Woo, that's good news for me. Good news. Let me see if I can take these all apart. But see, that's the piece that stops your blade when your knife closes. Don't you think that could be a little bit beefier too? Especially when you got a blade like this, nice big heavy blade. Let's just weigh the blade and see how much the blade weighs. Just out of curiosity, people. I know this turned into a long video, but that's okay. Everybody can watch whatever they want to watch. I'm learning. You're watching me as I learn about this knife. Okay, here we go. The blade itself weighs 5.3 ounces. The blade by itself is 5.3 ounces. Oh, that sounds like metal now. This is a half an ounce for the backspacer. This is why I get these pins out. I just want to weigh the liner by itself. Liners are 1.5 ounces. Let's also see how thick the liners are too, since we got all apart. 1 millimeter thick, just like I thought. 1 millimeter thick, people. 1 millimeter exactly. That's a perfect thickness for it. They don't need to be thicker than that because then you're just getting to making it heavy. 1 millimeter liners make, are fairly strong. And we got one stubborn one that's got to come out because I got to polish the scale. So we got to get it out. Got to use my little table here. All right. Press fit. And there's the liners. That's what the liners look like. These are solid steel liners, people. 1 millimeter thick. Fully skeletonized. I love the way this is made. They made this. This is a top shelf build of this knife. If you ask me, this is the way I don't see how they could have made it any nicer than that. That's what the scales look like. Nice solid G10 scales. All right. So that's the disassembly, people. This is the disassembly of it. I'm going to go ahead and leave these parts on the table and start polishing the parts I'm going to polish. That'll be the next video. Do it in 3 different parts so the video won't be way too long. But this is it right here. This is the start. The start of the build, people. I think I'm going to work on this first, because I just want to see if that's aluminum. All right. Peace out. Stiletto.